Good evening, everyone. And the day has come where, we all have been waiting for since a long time. It's the anniversary special episode of Leadership Spotlight series with Positive Vibes Consulting. Exactly a year ago, Team Positive Vibes, sitting out of a Starbucks, decided to try roping into the vast expertise available in the corporate world and create a community of sharing and learning. And this is how the Leadership Spotlight series was born. It was an effort to get the best minds, the most inspiring leaders who are a powerhouse of talent on a candid platform and get valuable insights, wisdom nuggets, and some very, very authentic conversations. I think that's what's been the differentiator of this show, very candid and authentic conversations always, around many contemporary topics that would benefit the fraternity. Over the last 1 year, we've had 13 very eminent speakers covering a variety of topics. We've talked about employer branding, leadership, talent management, attracting, motivating workforce, workplace synergies, career transitions, leading in difficult lives. We've also, in difficult times, we've also talked about holistic health and well being and many more topics that have added value to each one of us. Absolutely proud of this journey and deeply grateful to each one of you, the audience, for supporting us in this journey, showering us with your love, and motivating us to come back every fortnight with a new episode. And today, as we relive those memories, those moments of the year gone by, we are immensely honored to have these movers and shakers back once again with us for some very interesting, insightful, and some fun conversations because we're doing the celebration episode. And when the word celebration comes into picture, there has to be some fun. So it's not going to be all serious today. We're going to have some fun and definitely some takeaways as always. So let's get rolling, guys, and welcome our guests one by one. Our first guest is Sahil, Sahil Nayar, Senior Director at KPMG. The next guest is Harini, my friend Harini Srinivasan, who's shaping the future of work with Semco Style and Personify. Our next guest is Raj, who is an author, speaker, and an award winning HR professional. We have Gauri, who calls herself, and she is in a true sense, a possibilitarian, an HR head. And recently, she's donned the hat of a national president in one of the councils at Wiki. We have Vikas, who is the head of HR at IPG Dextra. And we also have Vivek. Vivek is here with us. Vivek is an ex IS officer and now a motivation speaker. He's a TEDx speaker and an author too. So, guys, thanks a bunch for taking out the time and coming once again, to the Leadership Spotlight series. It's an absolute honor to have so many great minds together today on this show. And before we begin with all the serious stuff, like I said, this episode is not going to be just about the serious stuff that we all keep talking about, but we're going to have some fun. So let's have some fun to start with, guys. So I'm going to go around the table, which is the virtual table here, and ask some rapid fire questions to all of you. Are you all ready? What do you think I'm going to ask you?
You ask, we'll know. You ask,
No,
and then we'll know.
give me a hunch. What am I going to ask you?
Unlimited possibilities, Shivani.
Oh yes, I'm sure many possibilities. Okay, so since you're talking about possibilities, let me ask you the first question, Gauri. If you could have lunch with one person from history, who would it be and why?
Okay, great question to start with. I think I would say Lata Mangeshkar because I get a very deep connect when it comes to your own uniqueness. Lot of times we are told that this is not as per the norm, so you should change it yourself. And she had a shrill voice, but she did not change. That was the time when all contemporary singers were using that kind of voice and pitch and whatnot. But she never got bogged down by it, and she created her own mark and her own voice also. So I would have loved to do that.
Awesome. Wow. Wow. That adds. Awesome. That's a beautiful note to begin today's session with such a melodious voice of the Nightingale of India. I mean, somebody who really, really, I think, is an inspiration for so many people in the world. Thank you, Gauri, and it was really well, very spontaneous of you to, take the name of Lata Mangeshkar. Thank you. Okay. Let's move on to the next question, guys. Whom should I pick? Okay, let me pick Vivek. Vivek Atre, if you were given the option of going in a time machine, where would you prefer going? To the past or to the future? And why? Vivek, have you already sat in that time machine and gone? Where are you? We're looking for you. You're on mute. Okay, while Vivek comes back sitting down in that time machine, let's move on to the next question to Vikas. Vikas, what are those things that you think you're too old for, but you still enjoy?
Shivani, I'm going to get you for this one. Not old for anything, not too old for anything, to be honest.
Okay,
But
wise. Let me rephrase it. Things that you consider you are wise for, not old. Sorry, my bad.
no, but to answer that question, I think the fact that I have two desserts whenever I have a dessert is something I shouldn't be doing. I know that, and my wife hates me for it. But that's what's the
Are you
ritual,
sure she
really.
only? Are you sure she only hates you for that? Are
Oh,
you
that's
sure?
one of those reasons.
Okay. Good to know that. Good to know that. Okay. Awesome. So it's the sweet tooth.
Oh,
Okay.
totally.
Good. Good, good, good. Okay. Let's move on to Hari. My friend Hari. We did a
Yes.
session, a brilliant session on storytelling by the Shiva Hari series, which we hope to revive again this year. So, Hari, tell me any nickname that your team gave you, which you didn't know of, and you got to know of that later. And why did they give you that nickname?
Well, actually, the nickname which my team gave me is something which the world knows, which is HS Express. But there is a precursor to that which the world does not know, and that was the original nickname. And then the HS Express was a refined version. The original
Hmm.
nickname was Bullet. The
Bullet.
reason, yeah, Bullet. The reason why I was called the Bullet is I have a razor sharp focus. If I have to get something done, it gets done, and there's a speed with which I take care of things. And this was the stated reasons, but I'm sure the hidden reasons were that. Yeah, I can destroy. So probably that was what it was. So it was Bullet. Bullet later got redefined to HS Express, and that's now become. It's not a secret at all. But I love
Yeah.
that gift from my team.
Awesome. Nice to know
Remind us
the.
not to get on Harini's wrong side. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely not. But it's good to know the context behind the HS Express. When I first saw it on LinkedIn, I was like, HS Express is something very unusual, and I would definitely want to know that how did you think of something called HS Express, and now
Yeah,
you've
and
shared
the
the
credit
context.
goes to my team
But
entirely.
imagine
And
if
the
it would have
best
been
way,
Bullet, hashtag Bullet.
while Bullet is what they told me, I have a suspicion it could have been Bullet Rani or something like that. I'm sure.
Not bad, huh? Hashtag Bullet Rani. Okay, that calls for a new series on Netflix,
Yeah.
I guess. Okay, moving on from Bullet Rani to our dear Raj. Raj, कोई funny boardroom incident बताएं. Any funny boardroom incident that you can think of in your career, anytime, any stage.
I think boardroom incident funny to nahi, but there was a lot of learning in one of the incident way back in 1999. So at that point in time, emails were coming up. I think it's 97, 98.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, you will understand it, but some of, as you said, Vikas, Sahil can understand, and Vivek, we used to have OHPs in those time. So I'm saying you are younger, Shivani.
Yeah, yeah, of
So
course. I'm completely, gushing
Raj,
on
I
that
am half
moment.
your
Thank
age, so
you.
I wasn't even born when you're talking about something that you're talking about right now. So
Chal
so
jhoote.
sometimes in HR, na, if we cannot
You know,
give
the
cash,
last
we give
time,
it time.
the last time he came on my show, he said he's 25. Now he's saying he's half of Raj's age. So what are we supposed to think, Sahil? You please reveal your correct age after
Sahil
Raj
is
shares
50,
his.
I am 100.
Okay, Raj,
So,
go on. The OHP. Yeah,
okay.
I know the OHP
So
also.
OHPs,
Hmm.
so it did not come out. So after third slide, it got stuck. And
Hmm.
in those time, computer also used to take time early morning. It's a winter morning, and it was a board meeting in my previous organization, G, and
Mm-hmm.
managing director and people from Netherlands and lot of large gathering. And
Mm-hmm.
my boss was there,
Hmm.
and he called me from the reception, and this is
Hmm.
where you see this building, cyber park. Now that's where our
Hmm.
office was. And he
Hmm.
said, Raj, what happened? I said, so it's only 3 slides has come out of 40, and fourth one has got stuck. So he says, come over, bring the
Hmm.
three. And the first one was just the first introduction slide and all that. So
Hmm.
I gave him 3 slides, and he was holding the door. And there were 45 people in the room, big room.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
haven't seen even a bigger, that kind of a room in hotels also.
Hmm.
And my MD said, Raj, do you know, we have waited for you for 10 minutes, and we are roughly 40 of us, and 400 minutes.
Hmm.
And I was very young, I'm 22, 23. And before I could open my mouth, he said, Raj is the best speech maker in this organization. Guys, I'm sure it will be worth the while. Now, after some time, I gave the remaining OSPs through
Hmm.
the secretary in that office. But when
Hmm.
my boss came out, he said, congratulations, Raj. It went very well just because of you.
Hmm.
And I told him, boss, do you think I'm a politician, son? So you don't need to be nice with me. What if, it will not have come out, those three also to start with. Then he said, Raj, shame on me then. Then I cannot present without, those OHPs. It's not about you. And why should I be angry with you? Because I know you should have started. You were there yesterday till late evening, and generally we never used to work after 6 in those
Hmm.
times. So nobody used. You were here till 10 o'clock, and I'm sure that you would have started early. And I
Hmm.
know that you come from bus. And I said, yes, I did start early, but somehow, it got delayed. So he said, I
Hmm.
trust you. I think that incident had left an imprint on my mind, that how do
Sure.
you remain in control in such a,
Yeah.
and that was the
Pressure
very first
situation.
I saw that boss of mine wearing coat and tie, uh, you know, after working 1.5 years with him. So it was such a big meeting for him,
Hmm.
and he was so calm. So that
Hmm.
has rubbed on me over a period of time. So it
Awesome.
was a great incident that I could share.
Awesome.
Over to you.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. It's these incidents like this, especially when we goof up in a big meeting, like an important meeting, and I think it has happened invariably to everyone. That we do all the preparation, we are all ready, but something or somewhere, either technology or something goes wrong, and then if you're fortunate enough to find a leader who supports us, I think that leader leaves a great impression. I mean, a long lasting. I'm sure we're talking about 97, 98. It's been almost 25 years, and you still remember this, and you're quoting this on a session. It means it shows the kind of impression, the imprint it has left on your mind. So thanks for sharing this, Raj. Okay, Vivek is back from the time machine. Where did you go in the time machine? First of all, tell us that. Did
I
you hear my
went into
question?
the future. Yeah, I can hear you. I went into the future and I met Virat Kohli when he's 62 years old. And I went into the past and I met Sachin Tendulkar when he was 18 years old. And
Okay.
the biggest lesson that I learned from going ahead and back was that life and time wait for no one. And the thing is to make a mark while you're at it. And if you are marking your guard, and sorry, I'm using cricket terms, then prepare for a quick, snappy journey. Don't get too attached and don't take too long to do whatever you do. So value your time and value the time of others. Of course, today I'm at fault, but I think that time machine worked very well for me and gave me a lesson that life is fleeting. So make the best of it as you can.
Awesome. That's very well put, I must say. So you've chosen, see, this is what happens now. You offer somebody something and you tell them you either go here or you go there. But Vivek goes both ways. He'll very conveniently, he's gone to the future and to the past. Huh? So
But,
that's,
but one more thing is that there's no moment like the present. And
yeah,
all mindfulness experts, Eckhart Tolle, Thich Nhat Hanh, all the great saints will tell you the present moment is a present. It's a gift. So
yeah.
be in the present moment and do your best now.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Vivek. That was quick thinking, and that was a very inspiring answer, I must say, for a lot of us here. Okay, let me now go on to the man with the spiky hair. He's come with spiky hair today, Sahil, and the man with the deep voice. Okay, Sahil. Now, if you had the option of making one law that everyone in the world would strictly have to follow, what would that be?
Well, I think that's a brilliant question, Shivani. And first of all, heartiest congratulations on your first anniversary for Positive Vibes Consulting. I think it's beautiful the way you've done it with the entire team. If I had one law that I could enact, I think it would be the law of honesty. And I just wish there was something in the universe that would just be a live lie detector, and it would just go out there and, just like a loud alarm just burst out loud to say, you're lying, you're lying, you're lying, you're lying. And I just think the world collectively would become such a better place if compulsive liars, if people would use the middle path of saying, oh, this is a white lie, and the others who end up not lying. I think collectively, if all of us don't lie, I think the world will become a much better place. I think the one law would be don't lie.
Don't lie. So it's a great idea for somebody who's wanting to do a startup. Have an app which can actually say that don't lie, don't lie, don't lie, and you know who to give the credit to for that if that app comes into picture.
And I
But
think
it's
more
a
importantly, Shivani, you should have something like this which it impacts your scores. The way you have CIBIL scores when you don't repay loans, you keep lying, it should impact your personality score.
personality
And then
score.
people will decide whether they want to work with you or not.
Absolutely. Good. Well thought answer. Okay, great. So we are almost done with the the fun round, the questions. And if the audience here has any questions, the fun questions, please ask the panelists here, because now we're going to move on to slightly more not serious stuff, but something that we all can, since we have a fantastic panel here. uh, it definitely would make a lot of sense for us to ask very contemporary, talk about very contemporary topics today and get their views. Okay, my friend Mona Lisa says, Shivani, one question to you. How can people leave me? I thought I was the one who was, doing the rapid fire round. If you're asked to describe your professional life as one single color, what color would it be and why so? One, I like all colors. Okay, so I don't want to be like I don't want to be sort of partial towards one color. But if I was to say about my professional life, I would say I'd go with green, because green to me is something that grows. So in all my professional stints, in my in all the journeys, from whether I was in the corporate and now I'm in the entrepreneurial space, I see myself growing every day. So I would pick the color green, even though I don't like wearing green color. That's not my favorite color at all. But for my career, I would say it's green. Okay, great. Very good question, but Mona, thank you. Thank you for catching me off guard. Okay, let's move on to some insights now. We've been, hearing about something known as the Great Resignation. Okay, and this is something that has specially come up during this pandemic. So, Sahil, my first question is to you. To what extent have you experienced the Great Resignation? Do you think it is something that is more profound in the West, or are we equally impacted by it? So, what's been your experience since you're in a people management role? How's it been for you?
Sure. So I think, Shivani, there's no shying away from the fact that a crisis of this sort, of this magnitude, has impacted the world at large, right? COVID-19 has been all pervasive, from the
Hmm,
richest man in the world to the poorest person on the street. Everyone has got impacted. And
hmm,
it has been across geographies. So while that has been the variant as a going in position, I think fundamentally three things have really played out. One, historically, we've always aped the West, be it
hmm,
on fashion, be it on trends, be it even on stock markets,
hmm,
right? And therefore, the fundamentals of what I would call as a socio-economic drift,
hmm,
definitely the Indian subcontinent is aping the West
hmm,
for two or three broad reasons. Number one, if you look at the entire GDP growth rate in an economy that is a lot more mature, in a developed nation as compared to a developing nation,
hmm,
the growth rate gets impacted. The ability of inflation playing out and the central bank, going out and printing more currency,
hmm,
thereby liquidating and moving money from the stock market to the bond market,
hmm,
typically would fundamentally play out even for human beings.
hmm,
So if you look at the larger socioeconomic landscape, bring it down to organizations or India Inc., and bring
hmm,
it down to an individual level, I think this has significantly impacted.
hmm,
But having said that, on the other end of the spectrum, I think what has been wonderful for a country like ours is
hmm,
people have really upskilled themselves,
hmm,
be it industries that we know were into spaces that would be illegal or banned by the law, have diversified as conglomerates into
hmm,
large organizations, into confectionaries and many other spaces, and be it
hmm,
individuals who have realized that just knowing basic Java isn't enough. And I
hmm.
need to know Python, and I need to know R, and I need to know various other skill sets on the ground which are going to help
Right.
me in the new world. I think we've also read it where on the other end of the spectrum, while
Hmm.
a lot of people have lost jobs, have become redundant, have really hit their level of incompetence,
Yeah.
on the other hand, we have seen people sitting with 7 jobs working from home and moonlighting. And therefore, I would say the great resignation is in the center, in the epicenter, but different people are going to be responding to it very differently basis
Hmm.
their own value and their own skill sets, which is where organizations will also start seeing value. And not only just hire them, but even be
Hmm.
willing to pay premiums
Hmm.
on the kind of skill sets that come to the table.
Right. Very valid points, Sahil. You brought a very different flavor, into this Great Resignation. I mean, I think you've covered the 360 view of this. It's not just, at one end of the spectrum, people are losing jobs, but people who've become redundant, who've not caught up with the times, people who've not adapted. And it's not just people in the jobs, I would say. It's even, entrepreneurs. So many businesses have shut down. Of course, some bit of it has got to do with the pandemic, but also because of the inability of people to adapt and do things differently. So I think what I get from your point from the points that you've made is that it's right there in the center. The Great Resignation is there. It's how people react to it. People with 7 offers, and that's a reality. I mean, people who are good, people who have made the most of upskilling in these times are the people who've really thrived. So, completely very, very valid points. Thanks for sharing, Sahil. I'll move to Harini now. Hari. As a woman leader, do you feel that great resignation is gender biased? Do you think that this is a phenomena that is, more common to women, or do you think it's got nothing to do with gender? It's irrespective
But
of gender. It's
absolutely,
happening.
it's absolutely gender agnostic. I don't see it having to do anything with women. And first of all, that will be a very skewed statistics in any case,
Hmm.
because if you look at gender diversity, that itself is very skewed. So it doesn't
Hmm.
make sense for us to look at it that way. Uh,
Hmm.
but my take on the Great Resignation as a
Hmm.
entirety is that to me it is not looking like uh, something where people have become redundant, or they don't see themselves as a piece of in the ecosystem.
Hmm.
But Great Resignation is actually because people have now started to look at different possibilities.
Hmm.
Probably the pandemic has put us in situations where we are thinking beyond the ordinary, looking at diverse possibilities, looking at different things.
Hmm.
So when that is what is driving the Great Resignation, if people are looking at not just employment as a source of livelihood, but trying
Hmm.
their hands on entrepreneurship, walk the streets of a city like Bangalore, and every other shop is a startup, right? So if that's
Hmm.
the kind of motivation people get by looking at startups, I think it's because of possibilities. Now, having
Hmm.
said that, obviously, it has got nothing to do with gender. And I also don't, I have not even come across cases where women have taken this as an opportunity to quit their jobs and
Hmm.
stay at home and put that as a reason and add to the Great Resignation. So I think it's absolutely gender agnostic.
Okay. That's again a very interesting perspective because usually the perception is that the more number of attrition that happens in an organization usually is the percent. If you see the percentage, it's usually women. uh, I'm saying generally that's the perception, but I think having said that, saying that the great resignation has impacted women, I would say uh, it's the same thing what Sahil said, that it's there in the center, whether it is male or female. It's how people have reacted to it and taken the opportunity. And the startup point that you said, yes, in not just in Bangalore, Harini, all I think all metros. I have so many friends who have now left very very lucrative jobs in the corporate world and moved to just get a flavor of the startup. I think
In
that
fact, in
culture is
fact, not
really
even not
catching up.
even metros. Bangalore is
Yes.
spearheading in that list. But it's very interesting to see, again, in the context of women, a lot of startups which are focused on rural tourism.
Hmm.
That's actually head. It is headed by rural women. So it's not even in the metros, and that's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
very encouraging scene for us to actually see that startups in the form of rural tourism, which are actually led by women, are being spoken about a lot. So yeah, so in the
Awesome.
context of startups, I think women are there
Leading.
probably.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Thank you, Harini. Thank you for sharing your views. I'll move on to Vikas. Vikas, do you think it's here to stay? Or is it just a pandemic induced phenomena? And what can companies do to best survive this sort of wave of great resignation? What's been your experience?
Sure, Shivani. So, clearly, I think my thoughts or my answer would really draw in a lot from what Sahil and Harini have collectively said.
Hmm.
While the pandemic has induced this so-called great resignation, I
Hmm.
also feel that it will sustain for some time. Now,
Hmm.
obviously, looking too much further into the future is impossible, as we've learned through the pandemic.
Hmm.
But I'll explain why I feel this, because in India, if you look at it specifically, I think the reason for the great resignation is also very closely intertwined with the business cycle. And
Hmm.
the last 24 months have shown us how the economy is really just bounced back in such a huge way, and we've had so many opportunities in the landscape. And
Hmm.
all of us are HR professionals on the call. I'm sure they will agree with me when I say that, all of you will agree with me when I say that 95% of the resignations that you see are do also have a compensation related angle to them. In our
Hmm.
country, I don't think people are leaving to go take a backseat in their professional life. They are not
Hmm.
going for jobs which pay them less. They are not leaving to go pick up a new passion or revive an old passion. They're pretty much moving to an organization which is able to give them maybe some little bit of more of what they want with a
Hmm.
higher compensation. That
Hmm.
clearly comes through, at least in my experience. And
Hmm.
therefore, I feel that along with the business cycle, this is a classic business cycle where there's an upswing, and employees being very fair to themselves are capitalizing on it. So it will be cyclical. Should the economy slow down in some way, we'll see a drop in resignations, and vice versa, right? Uh, to the second part of the question, I think what can companies do to survive this way? It reminds me of a very famous dialogue that I'm sure all of us have heard. फिल्में सिर्फ तीन चीजों की वजह से चलती हैं: entertainment, 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 right? And I, being an HR professional, feel companies भी तीन चीजों की वजह से ही चलती हैं, and that is really listening, listening, listening. So if you listen to your people, solve for them on a personalized manner, I think your chances of survival increase. Otherwise, you could be the next dinosaur or the Nokia.
Nice. Very, again, very different perspective, Vikas. What you said in the end just made so much of sense. I just like to share my own experience here when I was, working in one of the companies, and this is, before the pandemic. There was a lot of attrition that was happening there, and people were resigning left, right, and center. And I think what worked then would work now also. The only thing we did was just sit down and listen to people and solve problems. That's all. And we were able to bring down attrition numbers like anything. People, at the end of the 2 years, people did not want to leave that company, even if we did not give them, the increments that they were looking. Also, I would say, to your point of compensation, I would say yes, to some extent compensation matters, but what matters more is the listening that you spoke about. I think that somewhere takes a precedence on the compensation part too. But great insights, Vikas, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, going to Gauri. Gauri, you're in the financial sector. Has this wave also impacted this sector? And what have you all been doing to sort of avoid this?
Shivani, this is so amazing. Remember last year when we started this series and I had the honor to be the first guest, we had nowhere talking about, we had no idea that great resignation would loom large when we will be celebrating the first anniversary. But change is the name of the game, and that's what is happening currently. But for banking and NBFCs, it's not that great resignation came now. For
Hmm.
us, it came when fintech came into picture. They came with a large bag of money, and yes, you rightly said you cannot win games with money. But what Vikas said is really true. That when you listen to people, when you customize things for them, games can be changed. So for
Yeah.
us, what we had to bring into picture for banking and non-banks, because fintechs were already having an agile environment, they
Hmm.
had money. We already discussed this entrepreneurship. They get to see it much more there. Things are
Hmm.
so quick. So for, I think my personal mantra has been 5H, and
Hmm.
the first thing would be high tech, because you need to give them the right tool. When fintech have everything in terms of technology, you have to do it too. So tools to support customer and tools for employee experience as well.
Hmm.
Then comes the second edge, which is health. That is very, very important today. And it's not only the physical health that we used to talk
Hmm.
about earlier, but the eight dimension of health. Everything
Hmm.
we need to take care, customize it for people. One might require something which is physical, other might. We saw how even if they did not have jobs for 3 months. Then comes the harmony. As you know, when we don't have this brain and heart connect, there is no harmony between
Hmm.
things. Relations you have to have. Thing which is important for everyone. So you do 1, 2, 3, 4, and you bring in happiness. And how do you do it? The final H: be human. Treat people the way you would want them to be treating you. And also, if they have a requirement which is totally different from what you have heard so far, still
Hmm.
listen to it and try to find a solution. So yeah, I think banking and in this fintech sector was already impacted because of fintechs, and this is what people are doing to get out of this.
Awesome. Wow, that was a very, again, an H holistic answer, Gauri. Thanks for sharing the five H's, if that's how you pronounce it. We would love, Gauri, for you to, once the session is over, please put this down in the comments. I'm sure a lot of people will benefit from this concept of 5H. Amazing answer. And Dr. Madan Singh is saying you've been vibrant for yourself. So, and I completely agree with that. I think it's not easy, to have such a big role and be so active in giving back in terms of knowledge sharing, in terms of, being. I remember when I approached Gauri for the first episode. It was the first episode, and I was very skeptical. She was Gauri Das, and but she is so humble, and she readily agreed to do it, and I was really very very grateful. And I think that set the pitch and the level of the show. So thanks, Gauri, for being the first guest. And yes, lot has changed. We started discussing from holistic health. We talked about holistic health at that time because I think we were all in the middle. We still are in the middle of pandemic, but I think it was too new a concept for us to be, learning to survive in that, in this whole craziness. So I think from there now, we are talking about great resignation. So change is the essence, I think. Great. Thank you, Gauri. Thank you for this. Again, Kavindra Man is saying, great perspective, Gauri, 5H. Thank you. Okay. I'll move on to Raj. Raj, again, like Gauri, you're in a sector that has, one, seen the biggest boom in the last 2 years, but also traditionally, this has been a sector which has seen a lot of attrition on a regular basis. So has the, attrition situation aggravated now with this wave? And what's your advice to sort of, the HR leaders of IT companies and how they can tackle this wave, this great resignation wave?
I think the macro picture which Sahil has painted is there, and Vikas has also touched upon this. Gauri has talked about it, listening and 5H and all of this. At the outset, there is nothing great about this great resignation. Let me tell you from an IT industry perspective, IT, I think roughly 5 million people work. And even if you talk about 10% attrition moving to 15%, that means 250,000 people.
Yeah.
So, and if it goes to 20, it's about 1 million people, and you need to manage that demand and supply.
Yeah.
So for HR at this point in time, there's nothing great about great resignation as such.
Yeah.
Now, coming to your question, in terms of how do we go about it, I think still I see, in large part of the industry, people are operating with the 20th century mindset. So when you operate with the 20th century mindset, you cannot, have practices of 21st century deployed with 20th century mindset. So that is very critical because older people like me or younger people like Sahil will look at it very differently. Okay, so digital natives do not care what your position or designation is. For them, loyalty is out of the window. So what they care is you command their respect for your disposition and not position. Now, when large part, two-thirds of your employees, one leg is in the exit door, how do you respond to that? So I think Gauri has touched upon this. Vikas has talked about it. I call it Netflixization of, your people practices. Uh,
Wow.
so if you Netflixize it, life is going to be better. And and as you said, people wanted to stay in organization in your previous experience, like psychological contracting. So Netflixization and psychological contracting are the two key aspects to mitigate this challenge. And as Vikas was saying, over a period of time, we are seeing that green shoots. So it's getting mitigated. The kind of intensity that we see in the last 3 quarters. So I see that it's going to get mitigated, and it's a big challenge for the industry. So to manage that demand and supply, and it has its own ramification for the larger industry. So over to you, Shivani.
Great. I think one statement that really stayed with me, what you said right in the beginning, that it's, people should stay back because of your disposition. People should respect you because of your disposition and not your position. I think that's a key takeaway for all people here who are battling with this wave of great resignation. Because I think at the end of the day, like Gauri said, like Sahil said, like Vikas said, the way you treat people is what matters. It's You may be paying them awesome, loads of money, but if you don't treat them well, they're not going to stay, because good people never have a dearth of opportunities. They are those seven, people that Sahil spoke about with seven offers in their hands. So I think that's a very, very key takeaway from today's session. Okay, we have Uwais Khan say he's asked a question, and it's open to anyone to answer. Is it good to be a boss or a leader? Interestingly, we're going to be talking about leadership now. Which companies give importance to? Okay, so I think what he wants to ask is it good to be a boss or a leader, and what do companies give more importance to when it comes to profit making money for the company? Yes, anybody can take this up.
I'll just add to it, and I think others can add. Uh, it's a challenge, not only for the CEOs or CXOs or CHROs, to manage the polarities.
Hmm.
When I say polarities, there's different paradoxes. How do you manage that? So at one side, we expect our CXOs to think about the future, be futuristic, but at the same time, we expect them to deliver on quarter results.
Hmm.
Similarly, same paradox is there for HR also. So we talk about, we tell our HR guys increase human touch, and at
Hmm.
the same time, we tell them to manage layoffs.
Hmm.
We tell them that value is key, and then we bring algorithms into picture.
Hmm.
We say trust we need to work on, and then we talk about technological surveillance. Now, how do we navigate those polarities? It's not a question of being a boss or leader. The reality is that companies are there to make profitable growth. They are not there for charity,
Hmm.
and it's a truth whether you accept it or not. So unless you make profitable growth, if you don't, you will be kicked out. And there are various stories in the media that you could refer to. So that's my view, Shivani, and I think others can add as appropriate.
Sure. Sure. Thank you for taking that up, Raj. Anybody else wants to go take a go at it? I think
Shivani, I
what
think
you, yeah, yeah.
Vivek will possibly be a better person to answer this, but I think from my experience, whether there are wars across the world or corporate wars, that normally are what we HR professionals experience and discuss. I think
Hmm.
it's important to know that not everyone needs to be a leader.
Yeah.
You can't have an entire army of leaders going into battle, and it's not going to serve anyone
Yeah.
any good. So the fact is to know who and what you want to be. Is it a leader? Do you want to be just a boss? Do you just want to be a team player and just ensure that you're contributing to your fullest? And as
Hmm.
far as the organization is concerned, I think it's important to have the fair mix of all, so
Hmm.
that like I said, you meet that overall overarching objective for yourself.
True. It has to be a blend of both. It has to be, of course, like Raj said, we're all in, business to make money. It can't be that because the business will not survive. People will not have their jobs if there is no money that the business earns. So I think we have to be a little realistic about it as well. It can't be all, goody goody all the time. Sometimes you do have to take that, that dawn of a leader, but who's a compassionate leader, but at the same time, somebody who's a taskmaster as well. That's my
Shivani,
personal belief. You can't always be the good cop. Sometimes you have to be the bad cop as well.
I have a slightly contrarian take on this, Shivani.
Please, please.
I believe that you don't need bosses at all. And profit is just a consequence. I don't think any organization should be focusing on profits. They should actually, if you're looking at true entrepreneurship, it's about adding value to the society. So
Hmm.
if any business is focusing towards adding value to the society, profit
Yeah,
definitely becomes a consequence because people see value in it. And how do
yeah.
you drive that consequence is you don't need to have bosses at all.
Hmm.
My favorite jargon, I keep talking about it again and again, is treating adults as adults. Adults don't need bosses, right? But adults, when they come into the workplace, they probably will look up to leaders who are able to align their individual goals and aspirations to the organizational goals. So I think bosses, managers are all redundant, not really required to be there. And when you're talking of leaders, it doesn't restrict itself to any position or level in the hierarchy. Leadership is an attribute, it's a behavior, and you don't need a title to be a leader. We all have read that book as well. So
Yeah.
developing more leaders in the organization is what really leads to profits as a consequence. That's my take on it. You don't need bosses at
Sure.
all.
Very interesting perspective, and I can see people, writing in the comments that people resonate with what you are saying, Harini. I'll move on to Vivek here. Vivek, you've been a leader, earlier in the government sector. You've experienced leadership there, and now you're a motivation speaker, you're an author. How have you seen leadership transitioning over the years? What is it that worked for leaders earlier and now it doesn't? How has the whole sort of topography of leadership changed over a period of time? period of time.
Shivani, thank you for asking me to speak on this, and it's a very important point. Actually, I felt like reacting to what everyone said, but there's no time to react and respond to what everyone said. I'll just bring out one point which I agree with Harini, because I think Vikas, we don't need bosses, we need leaders. And everybody is a leader. A 2-year-old is a leader to a 1-year-old. A 6-year-old is a leader to a 4-year-old. Everybody has to possess and display and bring to the table some leadership qualities which matter. You may not be in a position of authority, but you may be a leader just by virtue of what you are. You have to be a role model, an example, and you have to be inspiring others throughout the day. Even if you're a good friend, you're a leader in any way. So I know that you didn't mean it that way, but this is a perspective that I wanted to bring. But coming quickly to Shivani's question, because I should be professional and stick to my time. The point is that leadership has some traits which are universal, which will not change with time. And if we look at the newspapers, the only people who are leaders are the politicians. And if I may take a very big swipe at them, I think they are the only people who are not leaders. The leaders are those who are inspiring and leading a team or a group of people. A homemaker is a leader. A child is a leader in many ways. A rickshawala who's sending back money to his family is a leader. So I think we need to inspire generations going forward to have qualities of head and heart which are universal and time tested. So if you look at there was a point regarding technology and AI and human beings, and if you look at today and tomorrow, I don't think the human element should be minimized in any situation. If I am sitting at a desk and the guy next to me is not himself today, I should be noticing and asking him, what happened to you? Why are you like low today? But I have no time. I'm in my machine. I'm in my AI. I'm in my virtual reality. And these niceties have gone out of the window. So leaders are those who notice others, who listen to others, it was already said, who appreciate others, who encourage others. And there's a quote that the world is full of critics, be an encourager. So if I am firm, I'm a good leader. If I'm arrogant, I'm a bad leader. If I'm authoritative, I'm not so good. But if I have respect, then I'm brilliant. Because of what I am, not because of the seat I'm in. Not because I have the ability to reduce someone's salary or increase it, or to throw someone out or to bring someone in. I have to command respect in whatever position I am. So all of us who are on the show are not here, as far as I can see, because of whatever portfolio we have. It's because we have a certain amount of a certain bit of qualities, at least the others do, maybe I do as well. So we have these qualities which we bring to the table as human beings, and we try and earn respect from our team, from our family, from our friends. That is what leadership is about. And one more thing, emotional intelligence is a big subject which we can carry on forever. The ability to know what to say in front of whom, when, and how.
Vivek,
Now,
I'm sorry to
if I am
interrupt.
scolding somebody, and HR
Vivek,
knows this very well. If
Vivek, I'm
HR,
sorry to interrupt. We can't hear you. Your voice is breaking. I think there is some internet issue at Vivek's end. Let's wait for Vivek to come back. Meanwhile, I'd like to ask you, Sahil. Leaders often think that they should know it all. So, should a leader know it all? Can good leaders be also vulnerable, especially when there is a huge pressure to perform? What do you think?
See, Shivani, I think I've been patiently listening into this entire conversation for the last 10 minutes. And there were various perspectives that have come up, some very relevant in the current times, some futuristic, some idealistic, and some realistic. I think fundamentally, let's sit back and take two steps and reevaluate where have we come from and where are we going.
Hmm.
If you look at earlier, we had hierarchy-based organizations, which typically meant at the bottom of the pyramid, I would do a lot of work. I would do my work very well, and I would get promoted. And as I got promoted, I would have juniors under me, and then I would be responsible for them to do their work well, which necessarily did not mean that I was a good boss or a good leader. What it meant was that I did my job well, I got promoted, and I kept moving up the ladder. Did I necessarily pick up people management skills? Did I necessarily pick up listening skills or all the leadership skills that you want to talk about? Maybe not. And thereby, as I grew in my leadership, when I say I mean anybody, as we grew in our leadership journeys, we kept getting promoted, we kept getting teams, but we kept learning the tenets of leadership as we grew. In today's world, which is a matrix organization, which is an organization where everyone is a leader, which is an organization where you have situational leadership, it is very important for the mindset to change. To also say that I may be at a certain level, but it doesn't mean that I will be the default leader. Maybe there is someone else who has worked on this project 20 times earlier, who knows it much better than me. And therefore, in the moment, I drop that title and I become a team player on something that is my strength. And I let that individual play the role of the leader. The third most important point, Shivani, is that, as your question was, it is not about seniority, it is not about tenure in the organization, it is not about age anymore. But have these fundamental transitions percolated into the corporate world? That's the question that all panelists can really answer. Because if you look at it fundamentally, where is it that we are having challenges? We are having challenges in, as Raj very beautifully pointed out, the polarities. I would take it a step further to say these are contradictions that we live with.
Yeah.
I have an open door policy, but when you come and tell me something, I want to only hear yes. Because if you say no, I'm going to say, you know what? Oh, this guy is anti me. And anti me means I'm going to impact performance ratings, so on and so forth. And therefore, fundamentally, a lot of what we are discussing right now, whether it is in the current state or future state, I think so. We heard about cricket as a game, right? We started off the conversation with cricket. The best batsman in the world is not the best captain in the world. The best bowler doesn't go to the captain for advice. The best bowler goes to his best bowler, who he's always seen as a role model, to say, you know what? Should the next ball be an in-swinger or should it be a full toss? Because that is where he or she sees a role model. I'm saying she as well for the Indian women cricket team, and saying, does he or she see that this person can give me better advice because I don't need to go to the captain for this? And while the captain may be a designated leader, everyone is a leader in their own right.
True.
And I fundamentally believe that the future is going to be leadership without titles. And if you want to corporatize this into a corporate jargon or a corporate blueprint or a corporate 2x2 matrix, visualize it this way. As you grow in your careers, imagine if team members have the ability to choose their own boss. And that will be in the future. Because as people build people management skills, and you become a great leader in the true sense of leadership, people will want to work with you. People will want to work for you. And people who spend 20 years, 30 years with a lot of experience,
Yeah.
kudos to them. We don't need to drop them off, but they'll become individual contributors. They don't need to lead a team and mess up the lives of team members just because they lack people management skills. I'll pause here. Back to you, Shivani.
Sure. Thank you, Sahil. I think some very, very good, great insights came through you. I'm going to pick on something you just said on people management. People who've been around for some time probably will become redundant if they don't know how to do people management. So, a related question to that, I'd like to ask Vikas here. Vikas, what's your advice for people who are stuck with bosses who are emotionally less resilient or who do not have control over their emotions during pressure time, who don't have the people skills? Let me put it like that. How do they cope up? What should be their survival strategy? What would
It's
you
a
say?
brilliant question, Shivani. You should do that rapid fire for every panelist. But it's a
Okay, let's
brilliant
do it.
question.
Let's do it. I want to ask everyone their views on this because I'm sure a lot of our listeners would be wanting to know a solution if you are stuck with someone who doesn't have the people skills but has become a leader because of their excellent whatever knowledge that they have. How do I get out of that situation? So we'll go
And
across
Shivani,
the panel.
if we
Oh.
may, just to make it rapid and fiery, 30 seconds per panelist, hit the nail on the head. Vikas,
Yes,
sorry to
let's
put you on a spot.
No, happy to do that. I think fair point. And, Shivani, like Sahil said, brilliant question. I think two things come to mind for me. One is try and get inside the boss's head and preempt what's going to come up your way, because that's one way to insulate yourself. And the second one is try and make the boss look good. At the end of the day, such bosses are really quite insecure in my experience. They are on eggshells most of the time, and they want to protect themselves. So if you can help them look good, and with your work, with your support, whatever, you're in a better position to survive.
great. Okay, and he stuck to the 30 seconds. Sahil, over to Vivek. Vivek, since we have you back with us, please.
You see, some part of people skills are inborn and some part can be trained and learned. If you engage with someone and tell them that what you said to so and so in front of their junior was not acceptable because the junior was present. He didn't mind the scolding. He minds the junior being present while he's being scolded. These kinds of people skills can be explained and are difficult to imbibe, but people can get better. I've seen people. I know that Sahil's point is absolutely correct. The best batsman is not the best captain, but the best leader can be developed. You improve. You talk better. You listen better. Unfortunately, listening has become the casualty. And I wanted to add that just one more point. The great resignation is not that you are resigned to your fate. You have to not be resigning to your fate. You have to be, it has to be a great renaissance in a way that you reinvent yourself all the time. And if that be as a leader, then so be it, and it has to be.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing this, a very different perspective. Again, there are some leadership traits that can be taught, but some leadership traits, unfortunately, cannot be taught. Okay, moving on to Raj. What are your views, Raj, on this?
I think if you have to manage a toxic manager or a jerk, profile him. So I'll quickly say how do you go about it. So there are two kind of bosses that exist. One who on tell side, and one is on the listen side. So once you understand where your boss falls in, on the tell side, for example, so tell side tend to be two kind of people. One who is big picture guys, who talk big, but they don't get to the level 4 of the things. And second is directorial on the tell side, so they want tasks to be achieved. They write this green, your color, on everything, all tasks to be green, yellow, red, show it to them. And on the left side, if you look at it, somebody is a great listener, or on the listening side of it. So there are two kind of people. One is people. So even if you've not done your task and say, can you pitch in for me? I have to meet my girlfriend. And they say, of course, I will pitch in for you. So they will go to that extent. People is primary. And then there is analytical people. So you do anything, but they will ask you, show me the spreadsheet. So give them 4-5, your tabs, so they can play it. Once you file the price of your boss, then tender to help him out. The way he wants to get information, predictorial, big picture, people, and to start thinking from the point of view of his boss, because he will do what his boss would like to be done. Right. So
Yeah.
these are two quick inputs in my 30 seconds, 30, 40 seconds, Shivani.
Very nice perspective, Raj. I think the key is okay. I'll share my views at the end. Let me first move on to Harini here. Harini, what's your view?
Yeah, so leaders who are struggling with people skills, I don't think they need to focus anything on developing those skills, because that's where the pressure actually comes. All that they need to do is learn two things: be absolutely transparent, transparent about facts, transparent about numbers, transparent about status of projects or whatever it may be. And all that they have to do is trust their team members. So trust begets trust, and the moment a leader has learned to be transparent, I think that's the best possible people skill that anybody could expect. So you don't have to be friendly with people, you may not even have to demonstrate a lot of compassion, but just learn to trust by being transparent. That's my take on it.
Thank you. So the transparency angle comes into picture here. Learning to be transparent, but sometimes it's difficult. People who don't inherently have people skills find it very difficult to be transparent. That's been my personal experience. But I'd love to hear
The
views.
point I was making is, if you are transparent, you automatically develop the people skills. So I'm just
Yeah,
looking at it the other way around.
the other way around. Okay, all right. Okay, Sahil, moving on to you.
Okay, so since I said 30 seconds, I'll have to abide by it. Let me quickly rush through this one. 3 points. Point number one, let me borrow from what Captain Raghuraman said. And he said this in one of his shows to say, you know what, when I go for war, or when I go to war, I know where the enemy is. But in the corporate world, it's difficult to figure out where the enemy is. So I think figure out, is the boss your enemy, or is the boss just trying to bring out a side of you that could be in your interest? That's number one. Number two, we've all studied about this, we've read about it: fight or flight, right? And therefore, you either fight the situation, or you say, you know what, it's too toxic, let me just go into a better space, a different role, a different organization, so on and so forth. And I think over the last couple of years, I've realized, apart from fight or flight, there is also this beautiful coexistence. And I think you don't need to really go out there, because if you keep your locus of control internal, if you don't play the victim card and take ownership and responsibility to what's happening to you, I think it's all a journey. You just learn. And of course, all of this you can say very well in hindsight. When you go through it, it does break you down, but learning's in hindsight. So 3 things from my side. 30 seconds back to you, Shivani.
Thank you. Bingo, 30 seconds. Thank you, Sahil. Again, very different perspectives. Okay, that's the beauty of this panel. Everybody is bringing in new perspectives. So much to take away for our audience today. Thank you. Okay, Gauri, possibilitarian. Kya possibility hai?
Shivani, I have an interruption. You said the
Yes,
beauty
please.
of this panel. We can have a vote on who's the beauty of this panel.
No. We don't get into controversial things. So I'll go back to Gauri. Gauri, बताएं कैसे एक बुरे बॉस को कैसे टैकल करें? क्या possibilities हैं? Since you're the possibilitarian on the group, क्या possibility है? बताएं.
ये तो शिवानी एकदम अमेजिंग है. इतने सारे आइडियाज ऑलरेडी आ चुके हैं. एंड इन माय ओन एक्सपीरियंस एंड आल्सो एडवाइजिंग पीपल हाउ टू टैकल दैट बॉस, I have lot many more ideas now. But what has really worked for me, because I have tried many of these, some have worked, some have not, because it depends on person also, profiling, like someone said. So first thing that has really worked is confronting the person, but choosing the right tool for it. Don't go for 360 appraisal and say there to his boss or her boss that he does not or she does not do this. That is not the right way. So the right place, the right time, and data, like Harini said, data would be very important thing, because if you just go and say something, it would not work out. So that is on other side. And the second side, which I very strongly believe in, is improve your self leadership and improve your motivation, so you are not dependent on somebody else to run your life. You run your own life, be a self leader, and have the highest level of self motivation, so you are not impacted much. But yes, the last option would be flight or flight.
Yes. Great. I think again, new perspectives here. I'm really itching to, share my views, because I have had, to go through something like this with a boss that I used to work for in the initial stages of my career. And so how I tackled it was, honestly, what Raj said, either you know, profile the person, get into his mind and all of that, you know, try and I think that's always worked, that, you know, you understand the mindset, the style, working style of your boss, and try and adapt if you can. That's there. If you can't, my experience has been, and I've seen this in organizations that I work, that people who don't have people skills, but the heart of the organization is in the right place, the culture is right, such people don't last for long. That has been my experience. Yes, if the culture is toxic, these people are going nowhere. But if the culture is good, if the management is good, such people will never last in an organization. That's why we see them frequently jumping jobs. And if they don't, and if the culture is toxic, they don't go. The last option is you go. For how long can you put up with someone like that? So that's how that I just wanted to share, since I've, you know, worked with a boss who was like that, so I was itching to share my experience. Great. I think that brings
But
us,
Shivani,
guys.
what do you do? Sorry, Shivani, what do you do
Yeah.
if those people don't go, man?
So you go. It's it's right.
But why should you go? Sorry, I'm trying to get it slightly controversial. Why should you go for someone else who's toxic?
Because, you know, if no, that's what I said, that if the
मतलब गलती वो
organization,
करे, हाँ,
हाँ,
जिंदगी
but
तुम्हारी वो खराब करे और जाओ
hmm,
तुम,
so
वाह.
if the organization is not doing anything about it, तो आप क्या करोगे? You
But
can't.
why should the
भाई अपना
organization do
पीस भी तो
something?
चाहिए.
Huh?
Sorry.
What about our own their peace?
Exactly.
ये
We
ऑफलाइन
also
डिस्कशन
have that.
के लिए इट्स अ
Gauri,
डिबेटेबल
why
टॉपिक.
would you
Monday
let
who's नहीं
someone
चाहिए.
else? Sorry, but let's have the big debate right here. Why would you want someone else to control your inner peace? Are you so weak?
You know,
This is the
Sahil, it's
last
easier.
option if nothing is working out.
Yeah, and it's easier said than done. When you are in that fire, it's very difficult to stay there for long, because you are looking at someone to help you, and if someone is
What
not
doesn't
able to help you,
break you
what help
makes
yourself?
you. What doesn't break you makes you.
So that's a learning, but honestly, practically, when you're in that fire, very difficult to
Yeah,
follow. If somebody
I,
follows
I
it,
would
I
agree
think
with
that's the
Shivani there.
journey.
Yeah, you know, only
You
someone
wanted
who's
to
gone
say
through it
something.
or is able to has experienced that firsthand will possibly be able to relate to what she's saying. And
See,
for
but
many in
that's
the
also
corporate world
learning.
should understand that, you know, almost at some stage in your 20, 30, 40 year career, you will land up in a situation like that. Don't lose hope. I think that's the message we should give them.
And no one says that the place where you are is the best place, right? So if you're good, obviously the world outside could be a better place. So it's not a sacrifice that you're doing of yourself by being good. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and Sahil
Exactly.
has this say, where to stop. Knowing where to stop is also emotional intelligence. So have some.
Absolutely.
No, absolutely. I
Okay,
like the way
guys.
you put it, Gauri.
I think we can continue, but it's been already 1 hour, 7 minutes, and we've gone 7 minutes ahead. But I think it's been an absolutely wonderful session. And if, you know, there was no time constraint, we could have gone on and on, because there are so many questions that I had on my kitty. But thank you, guys. It was a wonderful session. Thank you so much for taking out the time on a Saturday evening and coming for this show. It was an absolute pleasure to have you all. Thank you so much. And to
Thank you,
the
Shivani.
audience
Thank you.
here, thank you. Thank you. And audience, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be coming back with the second episode and the grand, you know, the finale episode with the other set of people, of the speakers next week on Friday again. So stay tuned. Thank you, everyone. And again, the speakers, what a fantastic session. I think so many takeaways, really. And people are, you know, writing in the comments that it's easily one of the best you know, sessions they've attended, because they've learned so much from each one of you. So thank you for bringing that
Shivani, with just one word, that it was a pleasure to be here. Fantastic panel, well moderated. But I'm particularly impressed with Sahil's Kabir Bedi kind of voice, Kabir Bedi, Hardik Pandya hairstyle, and his incisive views, which encapsulate whatever the rest of us are saying. So well done, all of you.
Vivek, this one's for you.
Catch.
He was sitting with that, you know, the moment
Pleasure
somebody gives
to
the
meet
round
all
of
of you.
applause.
Really,
Thank you.
super.
Thank you so
Likewise.
much, guys.
Catches win matches, as they say. So Vivek, that's one's for you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, and have a great evening ahead, and have a great week ahead, and stay safe, guys. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.